All right, media, we're about to get started. Before we have coach, we're going to start things off with Tashawn Gibson. Hey, Tashawn.
How y'all doing?
Good. Media, we got Tashawn with us, and we can get underway. First up, Dan Wiederer.
How's it going, Tashawn?
Yeah, no.
When you look at the lack of splash plays that you guys have had as a defense here,
Yep.
what do you pinpoint as the reason that there haven't been more takeaways, more sacks, more of those game-changing moments?
Football gods. Ain't nobody else but to blame but the football gods. Obviously, I think it's just one of the situations where just the right circumstances and just the plays is not just we're not coming down with them. Obviously, we had two big chances to do that against Aaron Rodgers, a guy who rarely make mistakes. And we had three of them, honestly, Mingo, Eddie, Kendall, all drop catchable balls that all those guys, man, is more than capable of making. So it's just one of those things where it's just one of those years. Sometimes you might have a year where everything is clicking and in every single pass that touch your palms, you catch, and then there's years like this. For whatever reason, man, I can't explain. I can't explain the sack total or the lack thereof of interception totals. It's just one of those things, man, where it's just a crazy year because we got the guys that can do it. And we've been saying it every year, and I know people are tired of hearing about it, but no better way than changing that fortune, man, than doing it on the biggest stage right now. So obviously we did enough to get in, and we're not satisfied. And obviously this is when we got to play our best ball.
Cam Ellis.
Hey, Tashawn. When a guy like Eddie Jackson, such a big energy guy, when he's having a frustrating year as teammates, how do you guys go about maybe picking up a guy that usually is the person that, picks everyone else up, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I think that it's one of the things where when you are a great player and you understand you hold yourself to a standard, you always have a level of confidence or about yourself. So believe it or not, man, his lack of I guess big plays haven't wavered his confidence, man. So it's not a lot of pep talking that you need a guy because he understands his ability. He understands the things that he's capable of doing. So I don't think that his confidence is wavered or anything like that, to the point where we need to pick a guy like that up. He understands that he's in control of everything, man. And he understands how great of a player he is and how great of a player he can be. So I haven't seen him down. I haven't seen him his head hung down. Obviously, we gave him a hard time for dropping that Aaron Rodgers pick. But I guess he said he already got one, so he didn't need another one. Who knows, man? But a guy like that, man, he is talented. Obviously, he's one of the best doing it in the business right now. So it's not a lack of confidence, not a lack of anything other than he just understands that his limited opportunities to make plays when they come, he got to cash in on them. But, he's still the guy back there. He is somebody that we feed off of, whether he is in people's opinion, not having these turnovers that people are used to him, accustomed to him having, man. He's still the same guy back there, man. You got to respect that.
Pat Finley.
Hey, Tashawn, the last 6 weeks or so, your defensive stats seem to be going down and down and down. Does it feel that way? And if it does, how do you pull out of something like that this late in the season?
That's one of the things where we came in here with our mindset. We knew these last 4 games, in particular, last 4 or 5 games, man, to get this run started, to get what we wanted to be. We understood that a lot of people have to put that pride aside and just win these games by any means necessary. Right. And when it comes to those things, man, the individual stats, everybody won't benefit from that, man, because there's things that you got to do as a whole to be able to play winning football. So, those sacks might not be there for a guy like Khalil, who we know can dominate any tackle in the National Football League. Those interceptions might not be there for a guy like Eddie because, we're having to do things to make sure that we win these football games. So by any means, and at the end of the day, I think that everybody took that in stride. There's been weeks where guys knew that, hey, we're going to have to do this to protect to take away this guy, which means that, hey, you might not get many opportunities. They might ask the D-line to do something different because this quarterback can hurt you with his legs like a guy like Deshaun Watson. So it might not be a game where you can have 4 or 5 sacks. And it's just a mature group in a sense that guys put their pride and their egos aside, said whatever it takes to get into this dance and win. And I think that's a testament to show the type of people we have on this defense. So I personally haven't looked at the stats per se, but obviously we would like to make more plays and make more splash plays because we got the guys to do it. But at the end of the day, we did enough. And as crazy as that may sound, we did enough to get in the dance, and here we are. So obviously the guys did enough to get us here now to accomplish the ultimate goal. We definitely know we got to raise our level of play, and that's for sure.
Does it feel like the defense is in a slump?
I wouldn't say a slump. I think that it's just guys. We have some marquee guys is really banged up, and that's never been an excuse. Never should be an excuse, man. Because when you're on the field, you judge about what you do. But I think that I wouldn't say it's a slump, man. It's just guys just still finding their ways. I mean, like I said, it's been a weird year in general, but the biggest thing is we challenge everybody, man. The biggest thing that they challenge is they said the playmakers make plays. And that's the only thing Coach Chuck said when the first Zoom meeting we had Monday. He challenged everybody individually, man. If you're a playmaker, you make plays, and I'm gonna put you in a position to make plays, and that's all you can ask your defensive coordinator. So with that being said, man, it's truly balls to the wall, and guys that make plays is gonna have to show up this game, and we understand we got to do on defense to win this game. So slump, I don't think nobody's mindset is about that because right now, man, it's a 1-game season, and that's our mindset and our focus right now.
Last one for Deshaun, Colleen Kane.
Hey, Deshaun, can you wrap your head around what it's going to be like to play a playoff game in front of only, I think they're going to have like 4,000 fans or something like that. And also just over the course of the season, was there anything that surprised you about what it was like to play in empty stadiums this year?
I think that I've been a part of the New Orleans crowd, man, when it was just rocking. And that was one of the things where the atmosphere was electric. So for them to lose that, I think that's going to be key for any opponent that's going in there, playoff or not. So to be able to come out there, man, I think that everybody's accustomed to fans, limited fans to no fans. And I think that we feed off of being able to play in front of some fans. Obviously, we're not able to do that. We don't have that luxury to do that here in Chicago. So when we've been able to do it in Carolina and Tennessee, in Jacksonville, man, it's fun to have the fans out there, man. That's what this game is about. That's what you kind of thrive off of doing. But at the same time, we have been accustomed this year to playing in front of no fans, so it won't be as weird. Obviously, the atmosphere in itself to be in the playoff is playoff football. So that atmosphere alone, man, is gonna get guys juiced up. And 4,000 fans, man, this year feels like 100,000. Believe it or not, 15,000 felt like it was packed back in the glory days in Jacksonville. So just that 4,000, man, we're able to feed off of it. We know the Bears fans travel well, so we'll see how it go. But obviously it's playoff football, man, and we're excited about the opportunity to go there, man. Whether it's 4,000 or no fans, man, we're excited about the opportunity.
We're all set. Thanks, Deshaun.
Appreciate y'all for having me.
Up next, we'll have Coach Nagy. Hey, Coach.
Eric, how you doing?
Good. We're ready to go when you are.
Okay. No, we can go ahead and get started with the questions. We just got in from practice, so I'm ready to go.
Sounds good. First up, Pat Finley.
Hey, Matt, any clarity on Roquan and on Mooney? Do you know right now whether either of them is out for Sunday?
We don't have any clarity yet. We'll have the game designation on Friday for both of those guys, and I think that in regards to Jalen Johnson, he was limited, and then Patterson was personal.
Will Cordero be back tomorrow?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. It's a good question, but I'm pretty sure he is.
Dan Wiederer.
Matt, you've tasted the playoffs a number of different times in a number of different ways. I'm curious for you what your most vivid memories of playoff football are and kind of how it filters into your mindset this week.
Sure. Yeah, it's interesting because when you talk through to your players and you talk to your coaches, we have a lot of different people on different spectrums, from a lot of coaches that have a lot of experience to some that don't have many or much experience. Same thing with players. We have some guys, you think of like a guy like Danny Trevathan, Akeem Hicks, Jimmy Graham, that have played, been in several games, up to I think as many 7 or 8 games that they played in their careers each. And to a guy, to some guys on the team that haven't played any or just one. So we discussed that because I think, Dan, for us, one of the things is you now get into these practices and you realize that, okay, you start running into the deal of where guys are at health-wise, right? Playing this far into the season, trying to keep your speed and your tempo going, but balancing, making sure that these guys are as healthy as you can get for Sunday. And so I think some of that is just educating them for the group of players that don't, or maybe haven't had experience as to how this goes in the playoffs, is just teaching them how we, go with practices. And for me, it's been, I've never been to the Super Bowl. I've been a part of playoff games, and there's some for me that stick out more than others. And when you're never to the Super Bowl, never win the Super Bowl, it's usually in a loss, So obviously a couple of years ago was difficult. I was proud of our team and coaches for that moment that we got there, but that was difficult. And then my last year in Kansas City, the way that we lost there was hard too. It's just when you have a lead and you lose that, those were the two that stick out to me.
Jeff Dickerson.
Hey, Matt. Mitch had mentioned something. He had said to us that he almost kind of felt like there was nothing to lose for you guys going into this game, that almost like so many people have kind of overlooked the Bears because of the way the season ended. I know that's a very cliched thing to play the underdog card, but do you guys kind of feel like, just sort of given the circumstances, that you walk into Sunday maybe a little overlooked by the rest of the league?
I would say this, we started off at 5-1, then we hit that 6-game stretch, then we won 3 in a row, and then you lose to the Packers the last game of the season in a big division game. That means a lot. And so, you end up 8-8, and you realize you're playing a team that has a ton of playoff experience at the head coach position and quarterback position, let alone the rest of their staff and players. And so when you look at that, you can understand where people are coming from. But the beauty of sports and the beauty of competition, and all teams understand this, is that really when you get to Sunday or you get to Saturday, whenever you play, anything can happen. And for us in our building, that when you believe in each other like we do, we understand that. And so the only thing we can do is keep believing in one another, know that it's a new season, and put the best product that we can put out there on Sunday against this football team of the Saints that's playing really well. So we understand people have opinions, but at the same time, we're going to do what we know, and that's to believe in one another and play hard for each other.
Jason Leisure.
Matt, I have a question for you on Jimmy Graham. Obviously you knew you weren't signing 27-year-old Jimmy Graham, and I know that you've said before how much you've gotten out of him behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, on the field, the expectations you had coming into this year for what he could do at his age, he does seem to have provided something you didn't have last season. How would you evaluate what Jimmy Graham has given you on the field?
Yeah, you know what, Jason, I would say he's right there with what we expected. And again, we knew we weren't getting the 27-year-old Jimmy Graham from the Saints. We understood that, but we also did our evaluation on who he was and the opportunities that he had while he was in Green Bay and what he's looking for. And so there was a fit there, but his production on the field has been really what we thought. And I think now you get into the playoffs and now you really rely on a guy like this that has that experience that can also help out guys like Cole, which is what I was saying the other day. He's done this entire year, which is going to really help Cole out for his longevity in his career. But I think I really believe what Jimmy is doing is everything that we thought he was going to do when we signed him to this contract. So we're really pleased with that. And then the intangible stuff is a bonus, which we were happy with too.
Colleen Kane.
Hey, man, obviously it's been a unique year off the field as far as COVID, and then on the field as far as, getting the team through the losing streak to make the playoffs. I'm just curious, what have you learned about yourself as a coach, kind of navigating through all of that to get to this point where you're about to play another playoff game?
Probably what I've learned is a few things. I think for me, you really realize who the people are that have your back through the tough times. That's on and off the field, in the building and out of the building. You learn through that and you understand that stuff's going to come. And so that part's real. The other part too is I was talking about the other day, the first year when we went 12-4 and won a division, everything happened so fast. And, my biggest goal at that time as a first-year head coach was to be able to have these players build trust in what we want to do here, the foundation we want to set, the mentality that we want other teams to feel when they play this great organization. And so by building that year one, getting it, and now having it in year 2 and 3, what I've learned as a head coach is that it's not always going to be perfect, and there's going to be tough times. And so how do you handle those tough times? And that's where I think you lean on the people that you started it with when you have a guy like Ryan Pace, who, from day one has been in my corner, and for both of us to be working through this thing together and having tough discussions, even when there's times where things aren't good, he's the first one in my corner that has my back, that's there to try to help to support. And it's the same, same for me, going back and forth with the coaches and with him and with Ted and with George and everybody. So you find out when you hit tough patches, how are your players react? And the players going through that 6-game losing streak have been unreal. And they've shown that the trust and support that they have in us as coaches, they've proven it by winning 3 and fighting to get back into it. And so I've learned as a coach that the belief in people that believe in you goes a long way. And I think that's powerful.
Dion Miller.
Matt, how has Mitch changed from the quarterback he was in 2018 going into that first playoff game for him? And do you trust him more now to execute the offense differently than even at the beginning of this year?
Yeah, well, so 2 questions. So the first part is he's much different than he was in 2018. Again, everything was going so fast for us, and he was still learning that system that we were in and learning what plays. I mean, we were 16, 17 games into that year, and we're still figuring out, okay, yeah, he likes this player, or no, he doesn't like this play as we're going through these games. And so the trust factor in some concepts you might not have like you do right now. So you're relying a lot on, and then plus he never played in a playoff game. That was his first playoff game. So that's different. And now from this year, you go to the beginning of the season to where he was 2 years ago in 18. He was a different quarterback at the start of this year from then, because conceptually we knew what he liked and didn't like. But as I've told you all, from the start of the year until now, he's even a better quarterback in a lot of different ways. And he's only going to continue to keep growing. Now that he has that playoff experience on how to prep for a playoff game in his back pocket, now this is game 2 for him. And how's he going to learn from what he did in game 1 versus the Eagles in 18? And then for us, how we want to use him. But he's absolutely grown as a quarterback, as a person, and he's worked hard at it. It has not come easy. And because of that, we're having success.
A couple more for Coach. Mark Potash.
Hey, Matt, along those lines, of all the adjustments that Mitch has suggested, the things he likes that have really kind of worked out for you, which has been the most beneficial? And also kind of just to get a measurement of that trust, are you any more open to his suggestions? For instance, if he's got that look in his eye and says, we can get this 4th and 1, are you any more likely to go for it because you know how comfortable he is with himself and with this offense?
So I'll start with that one first. Absolutely. When a quarterback comes to you with conviction on a play, if you don't listen to him or you go a different way, that's not good. And so when they feel something, you go with it. And now there's sometimes where they might have a feeling on a play, and you're sitting there and we're all talking about it. We, as a staff, we're talking through the whole week. Hey, if we get in this situation, we like this, we like that. And we go through and we all, with the quarterbacks, we'll rank our plays in the categories, in the situational categories, we'll rank them. And it's funny. It's sometimes really neat to see when these guys talk through it. But I think that he's grown in that way in regards to he has more confidence now in what we're doing schematically, and not just in all the boots and the nakeds and the play passes, but in the drop back game as well. There's stuff that he likes, that he feels good about, that we try to stick to. And that just comes with time. It's only going to, that part will only grow for him. And I think good coaches listen to players that have conviction about plays that they like.
JJ?
Hey, Matt, what did you learn about Allen Robinson a couple years ago in that playoff game, and just the way that he kind of took over down the stretch, just what he was able to do in such a big spotlight there?
Yeah, well, we learned a few things. Number one is there's a reason why he's the type of player he is. In big moments, he's making big plays. And for us, I think we learned some things too, without getting into a whole lot of stuff, X's and O's and schematically. We learned some things as a staff too, that we've talked about, that, hey, we get back into this situation again, let's do this. And let's remember this. Unfortunately, last year we didn't make the playoffs, so we weren't able to put that into fruition. But here we are right now in this position, and we're using our experiences, things that we thought we did well and things that we thought we didn't do well as a staff, to help us be better for this next opportunity that we have. A-Rob is a part of that. Every team, anytime you have 100 catches, teams know that that's a guy that you want to be able to get the football to and do things with. So what we need to do is make sure that that we do a good job of mixing it up and making sure that he's still getting opportunities. And I know, last week was one of those games where there weren't a lot of opportunities or targets for him. And obviously we want to be able to change that.
Last one, Adam Hogue.
Hey, Matt, going back to your first game against the Saints this season.
Yeah.
You guys had a chance to go up 17-3 before the half and settled for a field goal, and then they went down and scored. And it just seemed like a big swing in the game, and maybe even in the 6-game losing streak. I'm just curious if there were any lessons taken from that sequence right before halftime in the first game that you guys are discussing or will apply this week.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point, Adam. And probably not just that game, but in other games as well, is the mentality kind of who we are, not just as an offense, but as a team in general. I mean, here we are, we are going to have to be, have that aggressive mindset. You have to. And, I really felt like game plan wise, offensively for us last week, we really did a lot of things that we wanted to do. We couldn't convert that 4th down, and it changed the game. At that point in time in the game where you're talking about, that's a big time swing. And so how do we use that as a coaching staff to learn situationally? And that's my job as a head coach too, to keep my pulse on what's going on, not just on offense, but defensively, special teams. I mean, they got really good special teams. We know too, you see it over time. I mean, Coach Payton and with Drew Brees and what they do offensively, they're a situational football team too. They do a great job situationally. So we're going to have to be really on our dotting our I's and crossing our T's on everything we do, and use that experience you're talking about to probably stay a little bit more aggressive.
We're all set. Thanks, Coach.
All right, everybody take care.
Next up here, we're going to have Cole Kmet. Hey, Cole, how you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. Media, we're joined by Cole Kmet, and we can get underway. First up, Pat Finley.
Hey, Cole, in your look at the Saints thus far, at least, what stands out about their defense in terms of, is it different than the one you saw 8-9 weeks ago?
No, nothing too different. I mean, they're a physical football team. I think we all know that, and that's something that we're getting ready for this week. But we know who they are, they know who we are, and we're obviously excited to get going.
Mark Grody.
Cole, do you take pride in punishing defenders after you catch the ball?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think that's part of my game. It's something I just have fun doing. When you can physically do that to somebody else, it's a little demoralizing to them and maybe to the rest of the other guys on the defense. So I know it gets our linemen fired up and all that stuff. So I love doing it, and it's just kind of something that it's always kind of been a part of my game.
Dan Wiederer.
Cole, as an extension of that, when you looked back on the fumble Sunday, knowing that is part of your game, did you have any recap or analysis of what went wrong there? Is it just a matter of that happens sometimes when you're fighting to the end?
Yeah, I know. I'm aware that if I'm going to stay up like that, guys are going to come and punch out the ball. You kind of got me in a good spot there, and it is what it is. But I just got to do a better job of when I'm spinning out of things, because I tend to do that a lot. Is just making sure I cross over, with my grip and whatnot. So that's just a thing that I'll continue to learn. And these defensive players in the league, they're savvy, and they're always trying to go after the football. So they're willing to keep me up for a little bit to punch out that football. So I need to be aware of that, and that's something that I'll definitely learn from.
Before Sunday, you guys had made really marked progress in the red zone. What's your feeling on why the production was there for a long stretch there, where you guys had solved some of those red zone issues?
Well, I think when you can, when you can run the ball and the way we've been running the ball, and when you can, have big bodies in the field like that, and run and pass, it keeps defenses on their heels. So I think that's something that we've done a good job at, this past 3 weeks or so.
Chris Emma.
Well, what stands out about the Saints defense, the way they can attack an opposing offense?
Well, I think they're a team that they pride themselves on their physicality, and I think that's something that shows up on tape, and something that we've seen, and that fans have seen since obviously Sean Payton has been there. So they're a physical team, and you just got to match physicality with physicality.
Mike Berman.
Cole, one of the obvious focal points for the offense coming off of last week's game is getting touchdowns instead of settling for field goals, especially when you take into account that the Saints have a strong offense scoring 30 a game. How critical is that? How much of an urgency does there have to be to get the sixes instead of the threes?
Yeah, I mean, there's a huge urgency, and I think that's something I realized, come the NFL, just how valuable, a touchdown is. Field goals keep you in the game, but those touchdowns are gonna help you win games. So, now as we get into the postseason, that's gonna be crucial, and the teams that can convert in the end zone are gonna probably be the teams that end up winning these games. So, that's something that we're gonna take pride in this week on during practice to make sure we get all those things honed in and be sure to execute come Sunday.
Stacey Dales.
Cole, there's some of you on this roster that don't have playoff experience in the NFL and some that have vast, such as Danny Trevathan. What is the biggest message from the men on your team that have that experience to you younger players?
I think it was just there's a different intensity, a different feel to the week. And, I kind of felt that today. It's a cool thing. It's exciting. It's really meaningful stuff. And, over now half the teams are done playing, and you still get to play. So it's exciting in that regard, and guys are gonna be flying around, especially on this turf come Sunday. So it's gonna be a lot of fun, but everything just kind of picks up a little bit. The notch just kind of gets brought up just a little bit more. So definitely preparing for myself for that.
Thank you.
One more, Cole. Pat Finley.
Cole, are you guys in a better position to match their physicality now than you were then, given the offense that you're running?
Yeah, I mean, I think our culture has just, I think that's something that has brought, more physicality across the board for us as the season has gone on. With what we've been doing up front lately, and whether it's 2 tight end sets or things like that, I just think we've been more physical and been playing more fast out there. And we know when everyone knows what they're doing and stuff, you can play fast and play physical. So I think for sure, I think you're going to see a much better team in that regard this week than maybe you did the first time around.
We're all set, Cole. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks.